What is going on, guys? Grave here today. I'd like to talk about the changes coming to the Nightblade class in update 46. And if you've seen my past videos, I'm trying to do a video on each individual class. You guys can see what's going to change in update 46, considering we have subclassing coming into the game. There's been a lot of changes to the base class abilities to kind of compensate for what we can expect when we're combining classes in the Elder Scrolls Online. First of all, let's talk about Assassination skill line, Master Assassin. The passive now increases your critical chance by 4.4 and 8.8% against your enemy's flank, rather than increasing your offensive pen by 1487 and 2974 respectively against enemies you flank. This passive no longer extends the duration of stun from sneak. And of course, the developers had a comment on this, so they're changing the reward for flanking enemies to something less difficult to build around, as penetration tends to be the stat that is most helpful when it's consistent. The bonus is now a percentage chance effect, helping it feel more like an additional reward you want to get when you can, rather than a flat power increase that creates the sensation you're losing power when conditions are not met. Pressure points, they increase the critical chance rating from this passive from 1.25 and 2.5% per assassination ability slotted, up from 1 and 2%. Grim Focus, this ability and its morphs can now stack up to 10 times rather than 5. Decrease the weapon and spell damage granted per stack by 25% on all abilities now that their maximum stack count has increased. More specifically, weapon and spell damage is reduced to 45 for Grim Focus and Merciless Resolve, down from 60 per stack, and reduced to 60 for Relentless Focus, down from 80. These abilities now no longer permanently glow while slotted, and instead only glow while you have one or more stacks of the ability. This means the glow will remain if the stacks remain unspent, but you can easily solve by using the ability or simply reslotting it to remove the stacks. The days of endless permaglow are over. Now, that was something a lot of people did talk about. They didn't like the glow all the time. Now, I do like the idea of having the glow when you have the stacks. That way it's something visual that you can see when your character, is able to use those stacks. So that's a lot better in my opinion. It says, of course, they had another developer comment for this. We're allowing for over-generated stacks for this ability, so missing activation on a final stack don't severely reduce the effectiveness of this ability, which adds up over the course of the fight. I will say, a lot of people may see this as a substantial, or I guess I wouldn't say substantial, but a smaller nerf, considering you're reducing that weapon and spell damage. But allowing it to stack up to 10 times, I'm not sure if you're going to see a large decrease in damage with Grim Focus or Merciless Resolve, because of you're now going to be allowed to have 10 stacks instead of 5. So that bit of weapon and spell damage reduction may not be as noticeable, considering you're going to be able to have more stacks. So we'll kind of have to wait and see on that, of course, with more testing, and also adding those abilities in with other skill lines. All these things in all these classes seem like they're nerfs in a lot of ways, but at the same time, if you're combining these things with other class lines that are really good, it's going to kind of even out, I think. Of course, in Shadow, we have Dark Vigor, increase the health from the passive to 2 and 5% per Shadow ability, slotted up from 2 and 3%. Siphoning Catalyst increased the amount of ultimate this passive grants to 15 and 30 when consuming a potion, up from 10 and 20. Of course, Magic Flood. This passive now increases your magic and stamina by 3 and 6% when you have a siphoning ability slotted, rather than increasing your max magic by 4 and 8%. Also, Soul Siphoner. Reduce the rank of this passive to 1% healing done per siphoning ability slotted, down from 2%. That one might be a bit of a hit to solo players, because you're getting that healing done per siphoning ability slotted. So a lot of solo players like to run stuff like that, and of course I play a lot of stuff solo in game, whether it be just adventuring, dungeons, world bosses, that kind of stuff. So that's going to be kind of interesting to mess with. But like I said, having the ability to add other class lines into this, I think, is going to open up a lot of possibilities for survivability and damage for solo players and group players alike. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the Nightblade changes. And of course, if you like the video, hit the like. If you hadn't subscribed yet, please do so, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.